Hello everyone, I'm Crystal, the Marketing Director of Social Peta. Thanks for taking your time out for joining us today's webinar. What I'm going to share today is the 2019 data review of media buy in the game industry. First of all, please allow me to briefly introduce Social Petas to you. We are a technology company providing data analysis services for the advertising market. We collect advertising data on a global scale by sampling and have already accumulated over 600 million advertising data, with millions of data updated every day. Meanwhile, the popularity mentioned in the report was acquired through the calculation of Social Peta Data Group. According to the time of creative advertising, the number of contextual advertisements, as well as the estimated advertising effects. Alright, so today my sharing can be divided into 4 parts, namely the analysis of game advertiser tabs. The second is data perspective of the global networks. Then I will comparison of data between iOS and Android systems. Lastly, I will show you some case analysis of advertisers as well as excellent creatives. Firstly, let's probe into the analysis of game advertiser tabs. Actually, we conducted a ranking analysis on all the game genres from 4 dimensions. The largest amount of impression and creative, the longest period of advertising, the largest number of advertisers, and the fastest growth in the whole year. Through Social Peta's backstage data, we can see that puzzle and role-playing games perform well in every dimension. Well, strategy and arcade games have remarkable performance in certain dimensions. Next, let's have a look at a detailed data in every dimension. From the perspective of impression and creatives, games of different genres present little difference in ranking in these 2 dimensions. As can be seen in the estimated impression, the top 2 to 5 are arcade, action, role-playing, and strategy. Obviously, casual games have a higher impression. Well, from the perspective of creatives, role-playing and strategy games rank the 3rd and the 4th respectively, slightly higher than that of impression. Then as for the number of advertisers, role-playing games are far ahead by nearly 30%, while the top 2 to 5 have little disparity in proportion. Here we mainly focus on the puzzle games, which rank the 4th. As is shown in the data of impression and advertisers quantity, advertisers of this game genre update the creatives more frequently and spend more advertising. In terms of impression growth, role-playing games remain the fastest growing and show a significant increase between April to October. There is a market increase for puzzle games since the holiday season at the end of the year. Eventually, in terms of advertising time, the puzzle takes a dominant position with proportion of 33%. And among the top 6 advertisers with the longest period of advertising time, 3 games fall into the category of the puzzle. And for the second part, I would like to talk about data analysis of relevant networks. I will mainly analyze data from 4 networks, namely Facebook, Google, Apple, and Instagram. What comes first is Facebook. In respect of game genres, games of various genres of Facebook are in a nearly equal proportion. the overall development is relatively balanced and is easy to find from the proportion of the top 10 countries that America leads the field with nearly 80 billion impressions. Well, Britain, Canada, and Australia are in the second tier with 40 to 50 billion. Among the top 10 countries, there are all developed countries except Indonesia, which shows that Facebook accounts for a higher data proportion in developed countries and regions. The second is Google. Different from Facebook, puzzle games on Google rank first by 21%, and arcade games rank the second with 16%. Action, strategy, role-playing, and card games rank third to sixth, respectively with over 10% of proportion. And as for proportion in countries, Google no longer leads the field. The top 10 countries are obviously divided into two tiers. Also, Britain that ranks fifth more than 60 billion estimated impressions, while Germany ranks sixth has less than half of Britain's impressions. Alright, so what comes next is data from AppLovin network. We can easily see from the proportion in genres that casual games have a huge share in this network. Role-playing and strategy games account for only 15%. And from the monthly data of each genre, arcade games that rank first have a relatively high proportion in each month. Puzzle games that rank second have a relatively high average growth rate in the second half of the year. However, action games remarkably decrease in the second half of the year, ranking third in overall genres. Finally, let's have a look at the overall data from Instagram. In terms of game genres, role-playing games account for the highest proportion in this network, and they have excellent performance between April to October. Next, I would like to elaborate on the analysis at the level of data comparison of games from the two systems. On iOS, we can see casual games such as puzzle and arcade games account for more proportion, while role-playing and strategy games gain more popularity on Android system. And the types of creatives are also different in the two systems. It is noteworthy that both systems have a high proportion of video advertisements. On iOS, the proportion of HTML is higher than that of video, ranking first and second respectively. While on the Android system, the proportion of video ranks first by 56% and the image ranks second by 30%. Lastly, I want to share with you some outstanding advertisers as well as the relevant ad creatives. First, let's look at the top 10 advertisers for the number of ad creatives. From the overall quantity, the ad creatives of casual games are slightly more than hardcore games, and the former has a higher ranking. Regarding genres, both coloring and role-playing games have impressive performance. Particularly, two games from Lilith are short-listed, demonstrating its considerable production of creatives. Then, let's take an example of Kick the Body, developed by Chill Fleet. It has been advertised for more than 760 days, with total ad creatives exceeding 150,000. Over the past half year, the main networks of this game are Google and Vango. Its ad creatives use mostly videos and HTML. Through the data from popular copywriting of the game, we can see that cake, free, game, price, relaxing, and stress reliever. which can reflect the features and promotion activities of the game, are used very frequently. Another example is come from Gangs of Glory. It has been advertised for more than 840 days, while total ad creatives exceeding 170,000. It mined advertising networks over the past half year, including Google, Audience Network, and Facebook. Its ad creatives are mostly videos and HTML. And the data from Facebook advertising show that Vietnam has the highest proportion and its general audience are relatively older. Among them, users between 45 and 55 years old account for the highest proportion of 45%, followed by those between 25 and 34 years old of 35%. Again, according to the data from Socialpedia, we listed the top 10 creatives in 2019 in terms of impression. With regard to quantity, video and game creatives have equal shares. It should be noted that the top 10 playable creatives also have outstanding impressions. Thus, this type of creative makes significant contributions to the media buy of carry games. At last, I will share with you some high-quality creatives of SLG, RPG, and hyper-casual games. First, there are two groups of SLG creatives. The first group is from Clash of Clans. According to Socialpedia's data, these three creatives have impression popularity as well as impression. Let's probe into their details.
Not so rough.
Army Clash of Clans. Download for free.
We found the first one was created at an early time, featuring strong coherence of a story apart from continuing the high-quality production of Supercell. This has contributed to its long-lasting applicability. Now let's take a look at the next one.
Don't touch that, Larry. Larry, don't touch that. Larry! What'd I just say, Larry?
You and this army. Clash of Clans. Download for free.
You can saw the humorous theme elements are incorporated in the second creative. According to Socialpedia's backstage data, the addition of these elements will facilitate a better impression of advertising creatives. Now let's take a look at the last one. believe maybe because the Chinese Spring Festival is around the corner. The last creative is integrated with some Chinese elements like shadow play and red lanterns in order to enhance the attraction to the target area and the target audience. Okay, so the next group is from Gangs of Glory. Hope you guys like it.
It's my first time to challenge this guy. Got my stamina brain. I'm super nervous. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, I lost! What about this formation? It has so many troops. Oh my god, let me try this formation. God bless me, bless me, bless me, bless me, bless me. Yahoo! I won, yay!
It can be seen from the data that these two creatives have a higher popularity index of 800. The full mark is only 1000. As for context, both of them reflect the interestingness of the game. The first one makes the users feel like a live winner through the combination of music, sound effects, and rhythm. And the second one directly features player elements. Through the player's reaction, it narrows the gap between advertisement and players to attacked players. The following is the group of RPG creatives from Reed, Shadow Legends. The popularity index of the three creatives are all above 900. Again, the full mark only 1000. Let's take a closer look.
Get ready to raid. Explore and fight. Choose your champions. Defeat bosses. Win PvP battles. Raid Shadow Legends.
I found the first one is relatively standardized display of the game, including tasks, gameplay, and scene, and the other two creatives are somewhat funnier.
Hi, sir, you wanted to see me?
Yes, Death Knight. Please take a seat. As you know, we're having a tough time in the dungeons. We have a lot of low-level champions, such as yourself. I'm afraid I'll have to sacrifice you.
What? To who?
Brask Big Jaw.
You gotta be kidding me. I'm almost level 2.
Next!
Choose your champions. Raid Shadow Legends.
I don't know, Doc. It's like I don't even know who I am anymore. I've just been forced into this attack role. It's not me. I want to heal, but he never uses my support skills.
You mean your player? So let's talk about him.
No, my player. My player who gives every healing artifact to the elves. Who only lets me attack with blades of fire.
Well, I think we're making progress.
Raid, your champions are deeper than you think.
We can saw the second one enhance the interestingness through the dialogue between game characters and players, as well as the direct disappearance of characters. And the last one, by displaying a scene similar to psychological counseling, not only demonstrates its high quality and features of characters, but also brings a more immersive experience to players. Lively characters can stimulate the player's emotions for the game. Finally, let's take a look at some changes in the demonstrations of casual game creatives that are prevalent in the mobile games market over the past 2 years. The first is a group of advertising creatives of gardenscapes. We can find that a large number of creatives related to this game have been released in the market recently. From my personal experience, this is a kind of title matching games. The advertiser has recently selected some game scenario settings that are more problem-solving oriented to attract relevant users. Of course, I don't know whether it will reveal relevant game players later. So far, I haven't seen related levels of the game. It can be drawn from app downloads as well as revenue in SocialPeta's backstage data that this strategy is rather successful. And now let's take a look at another two cases. I found a comparison is used in the two cases. In contrast, multiplaying not only makes a comparison of players, but also displays a scene that the whole family is playing the game through the parents as players. And the last two cases are what I like because their creatives involve real people.
You already know I'll keep it on the low. Baby, you can trust me. Promise I'm alone. I won't tell a soul. Send it to my phone. Send it to my phone. Send it to my phone. You already know I'll keep it on the low.
I found the first one reflects the gameplay through the virtual image of an elevator. At the same time, the scene of waiting for elevator greatly accord with the scene that the players are playing the game. And the second one is creatively reveals the gameplay through the beauty's disappearance. It's really interesting. Alright, thanks for everyone's time. All the data I shared today are from SocialPeta. If you have any questions about the contents or data products, you can leave a message below the video or log on to www.socialpeta.com to apply for the trials. Thank you very much and goodbye.